Right, Jess, welcome to video 2. In this video, we're going to look at how to construct the roof. So my encouragement is to create 2 layers because in a sense what we have here are it's one roof but 2 separate features. So we've got both being gable roofs, but we're going to look at this roof here. This part of the roof is the main structure, and then this is one structure that sort of feeds off and penetrates onto the main structure. So I'm going to divide it into roof 1 and roof 2. You can decide how or what you don't have to do that, but I will do that. So I'm going to call this one roof 1, and I'll make this a certain color. Probably I'll look at green, be a nice light green. And then I'm going to have a new layer. I'm going to call it roof 2. And then I don't know if I've got a pink layer already, so I'll go with pink. So we're going to go with a bit of transparency as well. I like to do a bit of transparency so it's not too dark. There we go. Good to go. So I'm going to go using roof 1 first. And what I'll do here is I'm going to work into the main gable here. So how I'll do that is I'm going to bring that down at the 60. So you'll remember we'll need to create a new height reference here. So I'm going to again put my polar snap on there, which the tracking settings for a 30-60. So I'll come in here, make sure my roof is selected, and I come down on that 60 there as such. Intersect my picture plane, slightly slight extension beyond to intersect. And then I'm going to come down and make sure I come down enough. I'm going to start putting on my perpendicular there. Now you'll see what's happened here. If I go look at my layer, it's borrowing the hidden line here. We don't want that. We want it continuous. That's because it was preset to hidden. It was on the hidden, set to the hidden layer before as I created a new one. So it adopts or picks up the layer that you were previously on. Okay, so there we go. There we go. So then I'm going to bring across the height of this roof. You guys know how we do it now. We reference the height from the elevation. There it is. You'll see it crosses over there. And then I'm going to send this straight to the vanishing point. Remember, we pull down to the right and we take it to the left. Again, I'm going to just trim out a little bit here just so that we keep it neat. Now, in order to do more of the roof, don't need to do both of these, and you're going to see why now. Now, you'll notice that both the front left and right are on the same height. So I just need to bring one down. So I'm going to bring down this one here. Again, I'm going to bring it down on a 30-60 with the extension. Snap, bring it straight down. There it is. And then we want to find its height. So there is its height, and then we're going to send it again back to the vanishing point. Now what I'll do here is I'm going to send this part to the vanishing point there, and along that line we will find the other corner of the roof, that front right overhang over there. We'll find that along that line. Okay, so let's come in here and trim up. I'm going to trim there, and I'm going to trim there. Right, and we should be able to, if we're using our station point lines effectively, find out the positioning of all of these. So let's start with the apex of the roof. I'm going to go to the station point. There it is. And then I will drop that down along the apex height reference, or the vanishing point, which is this point over here, that line over there. It runs there. So there we go. There it is. So if I trim there, that is going to be the apex of the roof. And let me come in here and trim that away. We don't need that line. Get rid of lines we don't need. Right, then we want to come in front, find that front left overhang. So we're going to go to that. Again, we're going to go station point, and you can see it's very close to the other line we've got. Make sure that you zoom in, click on that, come straight down, and then we are going to intersect that line that runs at vanishing point line that references the height of that front left overhang. So then we're going to come down and intersect it over. Sorry, we're going to just go, there we go. Good, we're going to trim it up there. And then we're going to come in here and I'm going to trim up that as well. I don't need to have too many lines. There we go. Okay, so once we've got those two, I'm just going to show you what that would look like. So if I come in here and I go to my roof, just to give you an idea, it would be from there, okay, to there. up there would be the first pitch, and then we need to send another pitch down there. So what that would mean again is to come in here and go roof, same roof layer, and then I'm going to go to the front right overhang on that space on the roof there, and I'm going to bring that down to meet its vanishing point line, which is going to be, hold on a sec, so that is not correct. That vanishing line should have worked from that point over there. It'll be on that same height. Okay, so I don't know why I did that. Probably a bit late at night while I'm doing this. I'm getting a bit losing my concentration here. So there we go. That would mean that this here will be the other point of overhang of the roof. Sorry, not hidden. We want to get outlined, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So then we're going to go from there to there. Okay, and then before we get into any more detail, we're going to get the back point of the roof. So I'm going to stay with roof 1. I'm going to take this and I'm going to find that back apex. I'll go down to the station point once again, and then I'll drop it straight down to meet the apex vanishing line. There we go. So that's that vanishing point line. So it runs across the whole apex of the roof to the back there. Trim that up, give that a little clean up. And then we can quickly go in there with the outlines while we can see the feature, while it's evident to us what we need to do. So when you zoom out, you can get a bit confused with all the lines. So you can start to see the pitch of that, well, the apex of that roof go to its end point. We'll come in here just now in terms of the overhang. In fact, maybe we should actually crack on with that now. Okay, let's do that now. Right, so you'll see that the corner of the wall meets the roof there. Okay, so you'll see we projected it down. So that's that point there. And there's the height of penetration. So where the corner of that wall penetrates the roof, there it is. So what we want to do then is find the positioning for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So what I'll do is I'm going to bring the height of that across. And I'm going to use walls here. So it penetrates at that height. Okay, and I'm going to bring it across to our very first reference, if you remember. There we go. Because I can work off that point over here, and I can take that back to the vanishing point. And now you will see the height at which that penetrates. So that point there, so there's the corner of the wall, and there's its vanishing point line off my initial height reference. And that will be where that roof, where that wall will penetrate. Okay, so what that means is I can go ahead now. I can take my outline, okay, oopsie, no, that's not very good. I can go and choose my outline layer, and I could even come in and do as much as this. I can go to the back corner, and I can start to move up to where that point penetrates there. Okay, now sneakily, I can just quickly take this, and we know that that is going to move to the vanishing point as well, this way. So I'm going to go across to the vanishing point there, and I'm going to trim that up over there, go across and delete that over there. So now that's where the overhang will wrap around. Now this is interesting. We've now got to send this inside edge of the wall that meets the roof. There's going to be a line that meets, and it's going to be aimed at somewhere over there, and it's not going to be difficult to find that out. So I'm going to come to roof again, and you'll see where the top of the wall meets the roof point, it's over there. So I'm going to take that to the station point. I'm going to have to start to trim up things here. It's getting a bit messy. Okay. This will be probably the longest video because we're dealing with a lot here. So I'm going to intersect. There we go. That's where we want to be. That's what we want to aim for. So then I'm going to take my outline and I'm going to go line command from there to that point there. That's where we want to aim. Then obviously I can trim the excess. So now you can see there's that penetrating point there with the overhang. Next year in A block, these are like with your higher order marks, that point there, that point there, that point there. So those are the more difficult points to find. Okay, now we're going to work with roof number 2, right? And so in order to do that, I'm going to get my new layer. But again, I'm going to trim here. Now what I can do, and what I think is smart to do, is to remove layers now. Hide them. so that we don't have to see too much of the layers. So I'm going to delete those. So I'm going to come in here and I'll turn the layers on that I need. I'm going to take roof 1 off. So we're going to click on the globe. Walls, I can take away for now. Okay. So in order to focus on this one roof, we're going to get the new roof layer. I'm going to, again, pull this down on the angle, which will be a 30-degree angle. I hope it fits. Thank goodness. There we go. And I'm going to bring down this inside corner as well. There we go. Remember, once I've got this front right, I can find the left-hand side. Okay, so now where are the heights of these? Well, this is the apex of the roof, and you can see the apex of the roof is over there, because now we're dealing with a smaller side. I need to just make sure I intersect enough there. That's perfect. I'm going to bring this down to the same height as my overhang, which is front. Well, that's it there. Good. Now I take both these points to the opposite vanishing point. This is a long way to go, so click there. While I'm still in the command, I will click there. I'm going to trim around these things. I don't like the excess, as you know. I like these points to be just perfect there. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to find these points, and that's very simple. Again, I'm going to use station points. So station point projector there. Okay, station point projector to there. Now I can come straight down. So that's going to give me, that's going to give me the apex. That's going to give me the front left overhang, or right overhang, sorry. So I can go trim that up. I can go trim that, select those two. There we go. So what does it mean now? Just to show you by means of outlines, I can take this, and that will be from there to there, the one pitch of the roof. Let's just confirm that, brought that down on the angle. Oopsie, that can't be right. And you can see the error I've made. Chop. Okay. You'll see the error I've made there, that this should have come down from there to there. Okay. Again, that's why if you don't trim, if you're not careful, you end up doing silly things like that. Okay, I apologize for that. There we go. So now I'll get a better perspective on that roof. Okay. Okay, the station point line doesn't change. Now you'll see where it intersects over there. Good. Right, so again, we'll take our outline. So pull that down, pull that, got that height. Good. And now I know from there to there will be that overhang. Good. Right, I'll take that front right overhang. I'm going to send that to the vanishing point, because we know then that the back corner of the roof, if we take to the station point and then we drop it straight down from there, will give us the apex of the other side. For some reason this is not looking exactly how I imagined it to, but it's okay as long as we follow the due process. There we go. That's the height for that. Bottom overhang. That's the height for that. Okay, good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find, that's the apex of the roof. We're going to find where it penetrates into the other side of the other part of the roof. So we're going to stay on the roof, and we're going to bring that down to the station point so that we can locate it along that vanishing point line there. Onto the picture plane, we're going to drop it straight down. There it is. Good. And if we turn on the other roof layer, you'll see how these all meet in a moment, or at least the overhangs, how they meet nicely. So we're going to grab that, and that's where that will penetrate. Now, if I can go back to these overhangs, so if I turn this on, you will see where that overhang meets, that vanishing point line meets that, will give us the roof from there to that intersecting point there, to that point there. So there's the overhang. Then obviously that will meet at that corner to mimic that line that shows the line of, if you like, a line of penetration on this side of that apex. Right, there we go. Now you'll see there's a little bit of overhang that we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to finish. So at the back here, we've got something missing. Now what we're gonna do is, in order to find where that's positioned or where that's gonna aim to at the back, it will obviously be that point there. Now that point you'll see is on the same line as the front overhang over there. So that overhang part there, it'll run on the same line. So what I'm going to do here is we'll keep it on roof 2. I'm going to pull that down, right, to the station point to find positioning again. And from there, I'm going to draw a line straight down. It's almost exactly straight. There we go. So if I come in and zoom in just a little bit, there it is there. So while I'm in here, I'm going to take the outline because I'm so far in to execute exact precision. I'm going to click on that and then I'm going to click over there. Now you can see where that roof is aimed at. Sorry, it's not aimed at there. I'm being silly again. I'm bringing that down to there. That's where it's aimed at. So we're going to grab that and find where that. So what have I done wrong here? Now you can see I've leaned it in. So what I'll do here rather is trim. Okay. I'm going to come back to the roof. Then I'll find it on the picture plane and I'm going to drop it straight down onto, that's the line we need. You see that front edge there? That's the line we need. Then I can go and aim from that point there to that apex there. Now I can get rid of that line. I should have just moved it, but anyway, there it is. Then I can go and delete it. Can you believe it? After all that, now it's just aimed in the right direction to the right point. I'm going to delete that now. Okay, again, I need to come in and trim. Things are looking a bit messy, so I can get rid of that. Come in and click on the rest of these station point lines and delete. So the roof looks good. The only problem here is this roof is going to need some overhang again. You can see that we're dealing with where the wall meets the roof. We're going to have to deal with that as well. So I'm going to go to walls. I'm going to have to actually turn that on. I'm going to go to that point there. I'm going to send it to the vanishing for the station point. I'm going to drop it straight down onto apex of the roof from there. And you'll see it meets the roof there. All right. So that is where we're going to get that wall. That, again, a very similar thing here. This overhang is going to be somewhere in here. How do we get that height? No difference. So if I take that height where it penetrates the wall comes up to meet. Again, I'm going to reference come off my first reference, which is here. There it is. Onto that first reference line, that height reference line, which you could probably do as a different color, just so that you don't forget. There we go. Then I'm going to pull that across there. Okay, so this blue line here is the line we're looking for. You can see where those two blue lines meet. That is the point that we're going to work from there to there. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, I'm going to take outlines, line command. I'm going to click from there to where the two blue meet. And I'm going to come straight down there to the bottom corner of the wall. And I can now start to put some detail into my drawing. That will go all the way up to meet the roof over there. Then I've got this corner. You can see where it meets the roof over there. I can bring that straight down as well. Okay, there's no window or wall in here that meets the roof there. And then I can just finish that part of the patio off. See? Okay, now what I'm not going to do now is I'm just going to leave this for now because I've got a door to do in a moment there. And then I'm going to take this back to the right vanishing point. It runs that way. I'll have to come and delete some details here. So there it is. I can go and trim. I'm going to trim that off. Obviously, I'm going to trim that off. Maybe just clean up a little bit. So stop every now and then and maybe clean up a little bit just to, just to not distract you too much. You don't need too many lines. Okay, so far, there we good. There we are. We good. We take that away. Good. So that is the roof done, and most of the walls. In the next video, we're going to look at how to construct the door on the patio here.